Hello everybody. In today's episode, we'll look into how and where we can find all the financial information needed for publicly listed companies in either the US or Canada. Normally, each company listed on the stock market has to publish its financial statements on a quarterly basis and consists of the revenues generated, its costs, and profits. In general, there are two ways of how to access these financial information. The first possibility is to go onto the company's website you are interested in obtaining this information. This can sometimes be rather tedious in finding it on the company's website, since they are all individual and you don't want to waste your time just searching for it. The second way, which is much more standardized, is the access to the official database, which have all the disclosed and stock market relevant information at one place. As a matter of fact, the US and Canada have two separate databases. In the US, it is called EDGAR, and in Canada, it is called CEDAR. So let's have a look at these two databases step by step and start with EDGAR, the US version. First, you will have to decide on a US listed company you want to look up financial information for. As an example, let's go for Apple, a company every investor is familiar with. The only thing we'll have to do is to go to the website of the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, using this link here, and then go to Filings, which you can find here, and then Company Filing Search. Here we either type in Apple, and thereafter Apple will show up, or alternatively you can also use just the stock market symbol, which is AAPL in this case, and Apple shows up as well. By clicking on Search, a long list with documents appear. In this episode, we'll only focus on two types of documents, the 10-Ks and the 10-Qs. 10-Ks are the company's annual report and are published once a year. The 10-Qs are its quarterly reports and hence are published the remaining 3 times per year. Usually, the 10-K is much more comprehensive and includes, besides the financial information, more details about the business model, its biggest clients, sales areas, pipeline products, and so on. The 10-Q is usually shorter, but nevertheless includes all the financial information a potential investor desires. Now you can either scroll down to find the corresponding document type, or you can select the document you want to retrieve. Let's open now Apple's latest 10-K and see how it looks like. For this, you press on Documents, which is besides 10-K, and in the new window, you choose the first one. Thereafter, the 10-K is loading, and so here we are already, 10-K of Apple. Let's scroll down a bit, and then you basically, at the beginning, you see a table of contents, which gives you an overview of what follows. Here, we can also see that the financial statements are in Chapter 8. So let us scroll down a bit to see what else might be of interest for us. So first, you have a description about the business, when it was founded, about their product. So here we see iPhone, the Mac, and iPad, including the wearables. Other kind of sometimes rather detailed information about their competition or their employees. Then let's scroll further down to see what else comes up. So this is not relevant of yet. Here we have the stock performance that's also in this 10-K, and so item 6 might give you a bit of a background information about the company, where you see the total sales over the last 5 years, including net income. So you see in 2020 they've generated $57 billion of profits, and which translates into roughly a bit more than $3 per share. At the same time, they have declared almost $0.8 cash dividends per share, and their number of shares has gone down, as you can see here. So then we scroll down further. They have here a split of kind of the sales by iPhone, Mac, and iPad. So you see, for example, what they've sold. You see it where they have sold it, so Americas, Europe, China, and so on, and what margins, costs, and so on. Now, the next one I would like you to look at are the consolidated financial statements, which are here. So this is basically the summary of all of Apple's companies that they include. So we see total sales of roughly 274 billion US dollars. Its corresponding costs translates into gross margin of 105 billion. What they have spent in research, what they had in SG&A costs, gives you, as a result, the operating income and the net income further down. You can also see here again that the number of shares outstanding has been reduced in the last 2 years quite a bit. Then what follows next is the balance sheet. So what actually the company has in terms of assets and liabilities. So you see they have 30 billion just in cash, securities or marketable securities, fixed term deposits of another 52 billion that they would have at their disposal right away. They have accounts receivables, inventories, and so on. Here again, further marketable securities. On the liability side, they have accounts payable and also a bit of debt. So short term, roughly 9 billion in debt, and longer term, 100 billion in outstanding debt. And kind of the sum then is the shareholder, the difference is the shareholders' equity. If we go even further down, we find the cash flow. So here you see what or where the cash actually came in or went to. And in this case, what's interesting is lines here. So payments for acquisition of property, plant, equipment. So they spent almost or a bit more than 7 billion US dollars for that. Business acquisitions of roughly 1.5 billion. And you can also see that they paid dividends to its shareholder of 14 billion dollars and repurchased stocks for 72 billion in the year or in the financial year 2020. They've also done that in the previous years. So here you get to see quite a bit of Apple and what you can see in those 10 Ks. So now you know where and how you can find financial statements and other relevant information. Let us now turn over to the Canadian market. Here again, we have to first choose a company we are interested in. Let's take, for example, Kinross Gold, a Canadian gold producer. The procedure is rather straightforward, and we open up the website, SEDAR, and then we choose the language, for example here in English, and then search database on the top. Then we type search for the company documents, and in the next step we insert the company's name. So in our case, Kinross Gold. I usually choose to sort the documents by the date of filing to make sure everything is in its order. After clicking on search, you'll find all news releases and other stock market relevant information. Let's open up such a press release first just to show you what you can expect. So here you see that a press release where Kinross reports strong third quarter results. We have all the entire press release as a nice PDF. So let's close this again and see where we can find other financial statements. So the quarterly or yearly financial information are named interim or annual financial statements, which you can see here. Similar to the US version, you can find revenue numbers, costs, and so on here. So they right away start again with kind of the balance sheet. So you see they have roughly 933 million in cash. So this is all in US dollars, which is depicted on here. Then you see the inventories they had as of September 2020. You see their property, plant, and equipment, which is basically their investments in their mines, other long-term assets. And then on the liability side, you see, for example, kind of how much current debt and credit facilities they have, and further down kind of the long-term credit facilities. If we scroll further down, you see kind of the revenues they've generated from metal sales, its corresponding costs, and also kind of what they had in like finance expense for interest or other expenses they had to shell out to the banks, for example. As in the Apple example, you see kind of how much cash flow they've generated from the operating activities, how much they have spent in investments in their property, plant and equipment. So that's $212 million here, how much they've spent for acquisitions, and then also what you see kind of they repaid $750 million in debt, how much interest they actually paid. So this is all here. That's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode and can make good use of the content provided when analyzing US or Canadian companies. These are two very powerful databases that provide the reader a lot of highly useful information. Stay tuned.